have an outline, but not really. Even though you are trying to be one roommate, you have 3 other roommates, like more opportunities to make friends. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Tal, and today I wanted to talk about my college experience. I know a lot of people are probably wondering, like, why are you talking about school right now? But here's the thing. I'm sure a lot of people who are going or planning to go to university or college next year are really curious as to what it's like to go to school, because they can't go to their open houses, they can't go see the schools, they're not really getting that full tour of what it's really going to be like because everything is closed. So I thought I'd kind of do my own school review. Now, I did only go to school for 1 year, so obviously I don't really have the full experience. However, in that 1 year, I did learn a lot, especially living away, and I thought I would just kind of share my experience with everyone. So make sure that if you guys like this video, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below. Turn on post notifications so you can be notified every single time I post a new video. And if you're a new subscriber, comment down below as well, because I reply to all of my comments and I just want to say hi to you guys. Also, follow me on Instagram because I post daily content on there. Let's talk about some college. The first thing, I went to Fanshawe College. For those of you who don't know, it's in London, Ontario. So I was living away from home since I do live in Toronto. So I was going for the music industry arts program. Now, disclaimer, this program is amazing. Professors were amazing. It just wasn't for me. I like more of the marketing and business side of the arts industry, and they didn't really have that as much, but that's okay. I found out the expensive way, but I'm glad I found out after a year instead of doing the whole program and then losing 2 years of money and then not doing anything to do with that program. So classes were really hands-on. We did have a lot of lectures, but we did have a lot of lab times and stuff, and like working in our computer labs on tools that they had available for us there. So that was really good, and I know a lot of people, especially in college, that's something they try and focus on, is they have more hands-on learning than in universities. Universities is basically all lectures until you're doing your major. College is basically refining down everything that you're learning. So you're gonna go to like some of your big lectures, but they have to do with your program. University, you're gonna probably sit through a lecture about language, even though you are trying to be a rock analyzer, right? So those two things don't really go hand in hand, but you have to take those courses. Whereas if you were to do that course at college, it's basically just going to be you're doing classes on analyzing rocks. So in my case, it was basically a lecture format of what we were doing in class. So I'm editing this and I realize that does not make any sense whatsoever, but what I'm trying to say is your college lectures are based specifically on what you're going to that school for. In my case, music industry arts, we're having lectures based on sound engineering instead of language or general electives that you would have to do or take in universities. The next thing that I wanted to talk about was how it was in lecture halls. So our lecture hall was actually in an auditorium stage setting because it was a music program. We had the full-on lights, sound equipment at the front, and then we had the audience as if it was a place that you go to a small concert in. So it was really fun kind of going to sit in class and the professors would be playing instruments. So it was a really cool way to deliver the lecture material. The only thing that I had difficult with, and that's just because it's the way I learned, they would have PowerPoints. I couldn't focus on the PowerPoints because I was trying to listen to what they were saying and then typing the stuff down onto my computer. Not that it was too much, but I was just trying to copy down what they were saying, then they'd not be talking about the slides. So you're trying to write down 2 things at the same time, and that was something that I had a lot of difficulty with doing. But if you're good at multitasking with like typing and not even thinking what you're typing about and then what the professor is saying, then lecture styles are probably really good for you. And the nice thing about it was they post the slideshows for the lectures on a community drive, so then if you didn't get all those notes in class, then you could go home afterwards and then write down more notes. That was helpful. Sometimes they would forget to upload it, so you really want to try and get the most you can out of those lectures. The next thing I wanted to talk about was living away. I know a lot of people looking to do tours of their college to see dorm rooms, because if you're living on residence, you will be living in a dorm room. Fanshawe actually had townhouses, but they only had a few, so majority of the people were in a dorm room. A lot of college residents have 4 individual rooms inside of your apartment. So we would have a kitchen and like a living room, and then we would all have our own bedrooms with a door that closed and locked. So you did have a lot more privacy than the traditional university style dorm rooms, where it's you walk in and you literally have your 2 beds and a mini fridge and 2 wardrobes. So that was something that I was really thankful for having. There's positives and there's negatives to having those 2 different styles of living. The positives about living in your own room, not having to share where you're sleeping, is really nice because you have your own area to kind of decompose. You have that space to yourself, and it's really nice because you can decorate the entire room to your liking. And also the apartment style dorms have 2 bathrooms in them, which we never had an issue with, me and my roommates. The only time that we ever had issues was if someone was showering and the other person needed to pee, but there's the other bathroom that the other 2 girls had, so if you really needed to go pee, you could just go over to the other person's bathroom. So that was really nice. But the only thing that I kind of wish I got to experience was living with another person. You really grow a tight relationship with your roommates, and I definitely had a good relationship with my roommates, but I think that living with someone or sleeping with someone in the same room would have been a little bit different, and maybe it would have encouraged me to study more, because I'd be a little bit more mindful of, you know, keeping quiet and create similar schedule to your roommates. So I think it's really beneficial in that form. So making friends, it can be difficult. There's 4 roommates living in each apartment suite. It's really nice because instead of just having 1 roommate, you have 3 other roommates. So it's like more opportunities to make friends, and your roommates have friends. So you can just introduce yourself into a lot of different people, because the lifestyle that a lot of people in residence are living is the party, a very social atmosphere. So a lot of times we'd be going over to the neighbors across the hall, they'd be coming over to our apartment, or we'd be going to different buildings. So you're definitely meeting a lot of people, and because there's so many people living in the building, there's more chances for you to make new friends, start conversation in the elevator or on the staircase. So I think definitely making friends when you're living in residence is a lot easier than renting a house or your own apartment. And this is something that I didn't do. I didn't make as many friends in my program. I was making friends with people who I was living with. So you really want to kind of have not necessarily 2 different friend groups, but you want to make friends with people in your program and make friends with the people that you're living with, because your roommates are probably not in the same program as you, and if you want to study with someone, you can't do it with your roommates, you have to do it with someone from your program. And a lot of the time I didn't know what to do, because I didn't really make a lot of friends in my program because I was just so focused on the friendships in residence. I also wrote down lifestyle. That kind of was like the different amenities available. My school had a gym and every student could use it for free. So I really took that into my lifestyle. I would go every day. And I know a lot of people probably want to see their gyms when they're going for tours, but you have to take my word for it. Every college gym is going to be roughly the same. So that was the gym. The other thing is cooking. That was something that I really struggled with living in residence, because you don't have the access to stoves, ovens. So that was something that made it really difficult when preparing meals. We had a hot plate in our room, which is basically like an electrical stove top, but it was only one element, so you can boil one pot at a time on it. But we did have a community stove and it had 4 elements on it and an oven. The oven was busted. You could not use that. So it was very difficult to cook things that I wanted in the oven. But if I wanted to do pasta, it was great for that. We did have a microwave in our room, which was amazing, and that was a lifesaver because if I wanted like a sweet potato, I could just put it in the microwave for 5 minutes. So you do have to get creative with your foods because ramen noodles does get tiring. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was what you do in your free time, because I know a lot of people are like, you don't have a movie theater in your school, or you don't have restaurants sometimes. Our school is pretty good. We did have one restaurant, was never open though, so it was really difficult to go. But if you look online on your school, they usually list a bunch of different things that your school has to offer. But the one thing that I suggest you do is use your free time wisely. That way you can kind of use your school's activities a little bit more sparingly. So say one week you go to the restaurant, going to a school hosted movie night, or you're going to a residence hosted night. Instead of wanting to have something to do every single night, kind of stretching it out to last you 3 months because you're doing all of those things in say 2 weeks. It only lasts you like 10 days. So that's definitely something that I suggest. But I think that kind of concludes my list. I don't really have anything else to add. Let me know if you guys want a part 2 because I can definitely come up with some more ideas to talk about college, or if you guys want like a college story time, just let me know in the comments down below. And while you're down there, make sure you guys subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and follow me on Instagram because I post daily content on there. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!